Hello everyone and welcome to Holistic Healing with Deepshikha. I was recently reading a book and it had a few pages on solitude, which made me think about this word, this feeling, this experience even more. So, as per that book, solitude is essential for anyone to be whole again. Only when someone can be in solitude can that person really see life for what it is. To start this episode, let's define what solitude is. Solitude is a positive, constructive state where we find peace, creativity, and self-discovery, often confused with being alone. Yes, for some people, solitude may mean being alone, but for a lot of us, being alone also means loneliness. But loneliness is a negative feeling of isolation and lack of companionship, even when surrounded by people. It's the emotional pain of being disconnected. I have had my share of being alone, and life taught me how to find solitude in that aloneness. Do I get lonely? Of course. I think everyone does, irrespective if you have someone living with you or not. Whether you enjoy your own company or not, no matter how content you are with your life, there are moments when you do feel lonely. It is of course very different when you constantly have the feeling of being lonely. Again, speaking from my experience, for the last 17 years I have been living alone, and initially it was something that I found very difficult. Did I ever speak about it or talk to anyone about it? Of course not, because we are strong, and also because I was so lost. Anyway, so over a period of time it became something that I had to learn to live with. And for that learning, I ended up doing so many things that I would otherwise not do. I made mistakes. I was versions of me that maybe today I won't be able to relate to at all. Thankfully, and I really do believe that I have been lucky in this, life also showed me ways to accept this being alone and slowly start to enjoy it. Enjoy it so that it no longer seems to be a stumbling block in my progress or life in general. Today when I feel alone, it isn't something that's earth-shattering. It is just one of the emotions and I'm perfectly comfortable with it. But since this episode is on solitude and not loneliness, let me move on to solitude. Solitude can be a powerful tool for personal growth. In fact, psychologists suggest that spending time alone allows us to reflect on our lives, understand our emotions, and boost our creativity. Famous thinkers and writers often retreated into solitude to develop their ideas. For example, I have often heard Robin Sharma talk about spending time alone, closing himself in a room, especially while writing a book, and such like things. If you read about solitude online, you will come across things like solitude offers a chance for mindfulness and meditation. It helps in reducing stress, improving concentration, and fostering a deeper connection with oneself. It's about finding joy in your own company without the need for external validation. How I see solitude is that it is the end of the tunnel that forces you to spend a lot of time alone and hence face some good amount of loneliness. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't think it is possible to attain a state of solitude without having gone through loneliness. Because it is this loneliness that forces us to look within us. I mean, if given a chance and everything in life is going so amazingly well that I am busy with people and things that I love, I don't think I would ever feel the need to look within to understand myself better. It is the loneliness that makes us want to foster a better relationship with ourselves, that shows us the way to reach within us. Open the Pandora's box and let the experiences, events, emotions that we have pushed somewhere deep within flow out so that we can heal from them and learn to enjoy our own company. Learn to accept all versions of ourselves, even the ones that we are not proud of. It allows us to build a meaningful connection with ourselves and helps us to see everything with a new perspective, where we stop blaming everyone else for things and finally learn to accept responsibility for our life and our actions and reactions. I have often heard people say that they enjoy being alone and their solitude. Maybe I was also one of these, but being alone and spending time on devices scrolling or drinking or basically anything to simply keep yourself busy isn't enjoying your solitude. That is just finding an escape from what your mind and soul are asking you to face and resolve. Or probably a way to ignore people you don't want to interact with. Solitude is when you can spend hours just being yourself. Maybe you're doing things that you enjoy. Maybe you're not doing anything. You are basically just being you. No distractions, no trying to stay busy. Just spending time inside your head, daydreaming, thinking, remembering, facing your demons and also your angels. That is when you enjoy solitude. I also realized that this is something easier said than done. I have spent years combating loneliness before I got comfortable in my own skin. It took me a lot of facing the things, events, emotions that I had pushed aside. More than anything else, it took me a lot of forgiving myself for things I had done. The times when I had not chosen myself, I had not prioritized my well-being, when I had let people treat me in a manner that I did not deserve. Because something else that I have realized is that when we say we have or have not forgiven the other person who has hurt us, we are often talking about the version of ourselves that let the events happen or take place. So after a mountain size of time spent wondering if I had lost my mind, and having cried buckets and drums of tears, I think it is safe to say that I am comfortable with the person I have become, mistakes and all. So how do we embrace solitude and combat loneliness? Here are some tips. Of course, the first one is to learn to love yourself. We often reject parts of us that as per our social structuring we see as unacceptable or wrong. But remember, even as adults, acceptance and love is all that we are looking for. The child within us often seeks that validation, and when we accept ourselves, that child within us blossoms, and as a result, we as adults bloom. The second one is start slow. Spend time alone doing activities that bring you joy and fulfillment, whether it's reading, painting, or simply sitting in nature. Start with doing it for shorter periods and increase as you get comfortable with it. Third, cultivate meaningful relationships. When one has meaningful connections, the person feels secure, in turn making it easier to be in solitude. Limit social media use. Be mindful of how much time you spend on social media. All of us have a limited cognitive bandwidth, and as we spend time doing things, it reduces over the period of the day. When you spend too much time on social media, this bandwidth gets consumed, leaving a limited amount for doing things that actually matter. Another thing that happens is the picture that the social media paints is often incomplete and far from reality, but still leaves us feeling dissatisfied and wanting. And lastly, seek professional help. If loneliness becomes overwhelming, don't hesitate to seek help from a professional. And with this, I come to the end of this episode. Remember, solitude can be a nurturing space for self-growth, while loneliness signals a need for connection, but none of it is required to be done alone. There are always people around, and there is always help around. If you enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe, leave a review, and share it with someone who might benefit from this. Until next time, take care of your mind and remember, you are never truly alone. Thank you.